Are you ready for a moment that changes everything? The city was quiet that evening. The sun had gone down, and the sky was turning dark. Inside one of the tallest buildings, the lights were still on at the top floor. Austin sat behind his large glass desk, staring at a white envelope lying in front of him. He had been staring at it for the past 20 minutes without saying a word. The office was too quiet. Everyone had gone home for the weekend. Everyone but Austin. He didn't stay for work. He stayed because of that envelope. He didn't want to open it, but something inside him made him reach for it. Slowly, he opened it and pulled out a card. You are invited to the wedding of Linda Grace and Mr. Edward Harris. Austin didn't blink. He just stared at the names. Linda Grace, the woman he once loved more than anything in the world. The woman he planned to marry. The woman who left him without a reason. But Austin wasn't just any man. He was Austin Cole, one of the most talked about billionaires in the country. He made his fortune in mobile finance technology, starting from a tiny apartment and building an empire. Tall, smooth brown skin, a clean beard, sharp thinking eyes, Austin was a man people noticed. But he didn't care for fame or attention. All he ever wanted was peace and someone to share it with. And he thought that someone was Linda. 1 year ago, he had bought a ring. He was ready to propose. And then, she disappeared. No warning. No fight. Just a short text. I'm sorry. I can't do this. It broke something inside him. He didn't cry. He didn't beg. He simply went silent and buried himself in work. For a year, he stayed away from the cameras, the interviews, the noise. All he did was build, grow, and focus. And now, out of nowhere, she was back. Not in person, but through this invitation. And she was marrying Mr. Edward Harris, a much older man, a man known not just for money, but for power. Austin didn't care who she married. He had made peace with her leaving. But sending him this invitation, that wasn't peace. That was pride. Look at me now. He could already hear the whispers. Austin, alone. Linda, upgraded. Austin clenched his jaw. He wouldn't let that happen. If Linda wanted a show, fine. He would give her a show she would never forget. A slight pause, ambient city sound rises. A few days later, it was Saturday afternoon. The sun was hot. The city was buzzing. But Austin felt heavy. He stepped out of his car and walked down the street alone, wearing dark sunglasses and a black shirt. No one recognized him. That's how he liked it. As he passed a small bakery, something caught his eye. A young woman, sitting on the ground against the bakery wall. Her hair was tied in a messy bun. Her clothes were dusty and worn out. A small bag sat beside her. She didn't look sad. She looked peaceful. She was eating a meat pie slowly, like it was the best thing in the world. Austin stopped. Something about her made him pause. She looked up and caught him staring. What? She said with a smirk. Never seen a woman eat before? Her voice was sharp, but not rude. Austin chuckled. I've seen plenty of people eat, he said. Just not with so much joy. She raised an eyebrow. That's because most people don't know how to enjoy anything anymore. They have food, but no peace. Austin tilted his head. And you? He asked. You have peace? She nodded and wiped her hand on her skirt. Yes, peace, a meat pie, and a good spot in the shade. Life is not so bad. Not every fairy tale begins in a castle. Some start on a street corner. She smiled. So bad, she said, chewing. Austin chuckled. What's your name? He asked. Why? You writing a book? She teased, still chewing. He laughed again. No, just trying to have a conversation. She stared at him for a few seconds, then smiled. Vanessa. Austin, he replied, stretching out his hand. She looked at it but didn't shake it. I know who you are, she said. Austin Cole, the finance app guy, rich, quiet. Austin raised an eyebrow. You know a lot for someone sitting on the street. I listen, she said simply. And people talk, especially when they think you're invisible. There was a silence. Austin looked at her differently now. She wasn't just any homeless woman. She was sharp, bold, unashamed. He sat down on the bench near her. "So, Vanessa," he said, "what are you doing next Saturday?" Vanessa narrowed her eyes. "Why? You planning to give me a mansion?" Austin smiled. "No, just a wedding." She scoffed. "You want to take me to a wedding?" He nodded. "Let me guess," she said, picking at the last bite of her pie. "Your ex is getting married, and you want to make her jealous." Austin blinked. "Wow." "Don't wow me," she said. "That storyline is older than my shoes." She studied him carefully. "Don't you have a new girlfriend or something? A model? An actress? Some shiny rich lady to take instead? Why a homeless woman like me?" Austin's smile faded a little. He looked down, then quietly said, "I haven't been with anyone since Linda left. I'm not seeing anyone." Vanessa raised her eyebrows. "So you're really just taking a stranger off the street? To a rich people's wedding?" Austin laughed and shook his head. "I guess I am." She leaned back with a playful grin. "You must be very desperate." Austin laughed louder. "Yeah, maybe I am." She smirked. "You're lucky I have nothing better to do," she said. "I'll come, but don't expect me to behave." Austin smiled widely. "I wouldn't dream of it." They both laughed. And just like that, the show had found its leading lady. Sound of car engine starting. The next morning, Austin's black car pulled up in front of the bakery. Vanessa was already waiting, her small bag by her side. She stood up, dusting off her skirt. "So Rich Boy really came back?" she said with a small smile. Austin opened the door for her. "I told you I would." Vanessa slid into the car slowly, looking around the sleek interior. "Smells like money in here," she said. Austin smiled. "That's just the leather." They didn't talk much during the ride. The car glided through the city streets until it stopped in front of a tall building with golden doors. The sign above read, Maison des Elise. Vanessa stared at the building and blinked. "You're not serious." "I told you," Austin said, stepping out. "If you're coming with me, we're doing it right." They walked inside. Heads turned instantly. Not because of Austin, because of Vanessa. Old clothes, wild hair, broken sandals. Yet she stood with calm, like a queen, without a crown. Austin leaned toward the receptionist. "We have an appointment. Full makeover. Her name's Vanessa." The woman nodded quickly and called 2 stylists. Vanessa was led upstairs to a private room. They handed her a robe, asked her to change. Her hair was washed, deep conditioned, trimmed into soft curls. Her nails were cleaned and painted. Light makeup brushed across her skin just enough to reveal the sharp beauty underneath. Austin waited downstairs, flipping through a magazine, but not seeing a word. After almost 3 hours, the door opened. Vanessa stepped out slowly, and everything stopped. Even the sound of blow dryers went silent. She wore a simple, elegant black dress that hugged her perfectly. Her skin glowed. Her hair bounced lightly. She moved like she owned the ground she walked on. Austin stood up, eyes wide. "You," he started. Vanessa smiled softly. "Look like someone who belongs here?" He nodded. "Yeah, exactly that." Stylists whispered behind her. "She moves like royalty," one said. "She has grace, like she's used to this life," whispered another. And Austin realized it too. It wasn't just the beauty. It was the way she sat down, the way she crossed her legs gently, the way she smiled, calm and effortless. She wasn't pretending. She fit in too well. Austin looked at her closely. "Have you done this before?" Vanessa looked at him and smiled. Soft fade out. "Tonight, the real storm wears silk." For a moment, Vanessa glanced out the window. "Maybe," she said quietly. "A long time ago." There was something in her voice. A hint of pain, wrapped in calm. Austin didn't ask more, but deep inside, he knew. Vanessa wasn't just a homeless girl with sharp words. She was something more. And now, she was about to walk into Linda's wedding like a storm. Background fades to elegant classical music. The soft sound of violins filled the air. Cars lined up in front of the Crystal Garden Hotel, a grand hall glowing with chandeliers, golden chairs, and the scent of money. This was the kind of wedding people talked about before it even happened. Businessmen, socialites, celebrities. Everyone who mattered was there. Photographers crowded the entrance. Paparazzi waited outside. Inside, the guests were seated, drinks in hand, smiles painted carefully, gossip flowing freely. And then, the doors opened. A hush swept over the room. Austin walked in first. Tall, calm, dressed in a deep navy blue suit, looking like he had stepped out of a magazine. But no one was looking at him. They were looking at her. Vanessa. She walked beside him. Her earrings sparkled. Her eyes scanned the room with quiet confidence. She didn't rush. She didn't over-smile. She moved slowly, gracefully, like she belonged there more than anyone. Gasps. Whispers. Heads turned. Who is she? Where did she come from? She's stunning. Even the music seemed to fade away. Vanessa didn't blink. She kept walking, gently holding Austin's arm, her chin slightly raised. Across the room, Linda saw them. Her smile faltered. Her eyes narrowed. She hadn't expected this. Yes, she invited Austin to show him what he had lost. She thought he'd come alone, or with someone trying too hard to look expensive. But this woman beside him was different. Beautiful, but more than that, powerful. Linda quickly forced a smile, gripping her wine glass tighter. Vanessa saw her. She gave a soft, unreadable smile. Not too warm, not too cold. A smile that said, "I see you." Austin leaned slightly toward Vanessa and whispered, "You're stealing the whole show." Vanessa whispered back, without looking at him, "Good. Let her feel it." Low ambient crowd murmuring. They moved through the crowd, stopping to greet a few familiar faces. But no one really heard what Austin said. They were too busy staring at Vanessa. A woman no one could place. A woman no one could ignore. Vanessa sat beside Austin, crossing her legs gently, moving with calm, controlled elegance. Across the room, Linda's laughter grew louder, her smile tighter, her nerves clearer. Austin saw it. Vanessa saw it. And for the first time in a long time, Austin smiled for real. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. Something had shifted. Soft clinking of glasses, low background music. The reception hall glowed under golden lights. Waiters moved with polished grace. Music floated. Laughter filled the air. But one table went silent. Vanessa was speaking. Around her sat top businessmen, CEOs and 2 local politicians. She sat straight, eyes steady, voice calm. She wasn't just talking. She was teaching. "I think digital savings platforms can do more than just give access to money," she said. "They can teach responsibility. People respect what they understand." A popular economist at the table nodded. "You're right," he said. "But the risk of default still scares investors." Vanessa smiled slightly. "Then maybe the problem isn't the people. Maybe it's the system. They were never taught to trust." The men leaned closer. Even Mr. Harris, sitting a few seats away, turned his head to listen. Vanessa spoke clearly about interest rates, inflation, the future of tech in Africa. She cracked a smart joke about cryptocurrency. The whole table laughed. Someone brought up politics. Mr. Harris chuckled. "Well, we can't change corruption," he said. "It's part of the air we breathe." Scene pauses dramatically. Every end hides a new beginning. Vanessa turned to him, her tone respectful but firm. "I disagree. Corruption is not air. It's a choice. And once you start believing it's normal, that's when it truly wins." The table went silent. Mr. Harris shifted slightly in his seat. "And what would someone like you know about running a country?" he asked. Vanessa looked him straight in the eye. "I know what it feels like when the country fails the people who trusted it." Austin watched her, heart full. He had brought Vanessa to prove a point. But now, she was doing more. She was shining. One question pressed in his mind. How could a woman this smart, this powerful, end up on the streets? His thoughts were broken by a soft voice beside him. Austin! He turned. Linda stood there, in her wedding gown, her fake smile tighter than ever. Can we talk privately? She asked. Austin sighed, stood up, and followed her to a quiet corner. Linda turned to face him, her voice sweet but colder now. I just wanted to check on you, she said. You've been through a lot, and I can see how desperate you must have felt. That girl, Vanessa, I mean. Austin raised an eyebrow. Linda continued, I'm just worried she's using you. You're vulnerable, you're kind, you fall fast. What if she breaks your heart? Austin looked at her for a long second, then took a deep breath. You know, he said quietly. It's funny hearing all this from the same woman who left me without a word. Linda's smile faded. You're worried she'll break my heart? He continued. That's rich, coming from the one who did. Linda opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. You don't get to care now, Austin said, calm but firm. You made your choice, and I've made mine. Let this be the last time. He turned and walked back to the woman who had already changed the energy of the room. Vanessa didn't even know he had stepped away. She was still deep in conversation, answering a question from a young tech founder. Austin sat beside her again, saying nothing, just smiling, because he knew the wedding was over. But the whispers about Vanessa had just begun. Across the city's elite circles, people were still asking, who is she? Where did Austin find her? Why haven't we seen her before? But Vanessa stayed quiet. No photos, no interviews. She simply disappeared, back to wherever she had come from. But Austin couldn't stop thinking about her. Not just her beauty, the way she spoke, the calm in her storm. He needed to know more. 2 days after the wedding, he called his assistant. Her name is Vanessa, he said over the phone. No last name. I need to know who she really is. The assistant tried, searched for days, but came back with one answer. Nothing. No social media. No school records. No ID. It's like she doesn't exist. Austin sat in silence, staring at the city lights from his balcony. The mystery only made him more curious. So he picked up his phone and sent her a message. Dinner, 7:00 p.m. My driver will pick you up. Vanessa arrived exactly on time. She wore a soft emerald dress. No jewelry. Her hair pulled back simple, elegant just like her. They sat in a quiet corner of La Mirage, a high-end restaurant, soft jazz playing in the background. They talked about food, weather, music, nothing serious. Then Austin leaned forward, his voice low. Vanessa, who are you really? She didn't answer immediately. She looked at her wine glass for a long moment, then lifted her eyes. Vanessa Williams, she said softly. That's my real name. Austin stayed quiet. I grew up in a house with 10 bedrooms and marble floors. We had maids, drivers, private chefs. I went to school abroad. Lived in London for 5 years. He blinked, surprised. So what happened? She took a slow breath. My father, Charles Williams, was once one of the most powerful businessmen in this country. He built his company from nothing. But a few years ago, he partnered with the wrong person. She looked at Austin again, her eyes heavy. That person was Edward Harris. Austin felt his chest tighten. Vanessa continued. They started a project together. Big government contracts. My father trusted him. But Harris used fake documents, moved money around, and when the investigation started, he blamed everything on my dad. Austin sat back, silent. My father was arrested. He served time. We lost everything. Our home, our cars, our name. And not a single person stood by him. He died in prison, heartbroken, shamed. Vanessa's voice cracked slightly, but she didn't cry. I came back with nothing but myself. I didn't want pity. I just wanted the truth. Austin looked at her, not with pity but with deep, unshakable respect. You're stronger than you know, he said quietly. Vanessa gave a small smile. I just wanted the truth to be seen again, even if only by one person. And Austin made a silent promise. He would help her. She would never carry that burden alone again.